market plan so different? Well, we've heard that before. And really, a lot of agents do a lot of the same things. I think the final decision is not based on what's different. I think the final decision is what agent really is representing you the best. So I would ask you, what kind of qualities are you looking for in an agent? And then I would start listening to what they say. So a lot of the agents do things that are exactly the same. One of the things that we do, of course, is Coming Soon Homes, which has helped us differentiate ourselves, and now our friends at EXP have that benefit. So that would be a great thing to say. Another thing that I would say, because I'm pretty bold and pretty direct when it comes to things, is one of the things that makes us different. The difference between our other competitors and us is just the results that we get. We sell more resale homes than anyone in this market for the last 5 years. I think that's a competitive edge. So the next thing, the next objection that we hear a lot is, why is your price so much lower than the other agents that we've talked to? And boy, haven't we heard that a lot. In this market, pricing is such a moving target. I think that's a very common objection that we hear. So what would you say to that? I'd love to hear from the audience. I wish I had some live participants here with me today to hear what you would say to that, because I have to say to that honestly, in the lower ranges right now, personally, I will be a little bit lax on pricing. In other words, I will talk about that we still have to have the house appraised. So the comps that we're looking at are very, very important. And if we go outside of those comps, we're going to have to deal with strictly cash buyers, which puts us down to a very low percentage. But I think on the lower price ranges, actually, you do have more play than you've ever had before in this market. So, but I would have to say that it's just surprising when they say, why is your price so much lower? And I said, it's confusing, isn't it? I said, you had 3 agents out here. You've got, all different prices, and we all have access to the same information. So why in the world would you get 3 different prices? Or why would you have 2 that are about the same and 1 that's lower? And the reason has got to do a lot with the amount of business that the agent is doing. And frankly, if they don't have a lot of business, they're anxious to take your listing at any price, because they know they're going to get a residual, they're going to get a buyer call, they're going to get additional calls. If they get a sign up anywhere, the truth is that we carry a lot of listings. And so the difference is that I want to tell good people like you the truth about what I think the market's going to bring for your home. And by telling you the truth, I may not get your listing, but at the same time, you're going to get the accurate information that if you really do want to be to that new job in Ohio by the middle of next month, you're going to have a much better opportunity with an agent like myself that tells good people like you the absolute truth when it comes to pricing their home. So if you've got any other pricing techniques or any other pricing objection, I'd love to hear it now. One of the other objections is a little bit of an objection about you're too busy. Oh, I've heard that one a lot. You're too busy to handle mine. And this is the really touchy-feely person, which any of you that know me, it's I'm a touchy-feely person, but at the same time, I'm there to get a job done. And there's doctors, for example. I had to have a family member had to have some surgery at one point, and I was helping them decide on which doctor to use. And their idea was to totally go to the bedside manner of the doctor. I mean, there was doctors that really had a good bedside manner. And then there was the surgeon that had the best record of survival. So you can imagine that I went to the surgeon that had the best record of survival. And something I've really seen in the past in the medical field is that one of those great bedside doctors will team up with one that's really good. So the bedside doctor will do the evaluation, and then the surgeon will come in and do the real deed, do the real hard, heavy lifting. So when I get the objection, you're just too busy, Marty. You've got so many listings. We want somebody that can give us the attention that we deserve, and that is that's one I get a lot. So when I talk about that, I want to talk about the advantage, the benefit that the homeowner is going to get by working with me. And what I bring is clientele. What I bring is 25 years of past clients. What I bring is a large portfolio of active listings. What I bring to the market, when you've got more listings and you got more signs on the ground, you have more people that call you. And real estate really is a kind of a mix and match kind of business. Rarely does one person call on the house that they actually buy. It does happen, but it's rare. It's mostly a mix and match business. So if a knowledgeable agent gets a hold of that buyer, they can move them. And by having a lot of cards on the table, you've got a lot of things to choose from. So by having more signs, I get more calls on my homes, and of course most of the buyers don't buy the home that they get. So that's the reason they're interested in working with me. And also you can see the advantage of listing with an agent that has 20 or 30 signs on the street, can't you? Asking them the question, can you see the advantage of working with us because we have more signs on the street? Can you see the advantage of working with us because we have more advertising online? That's really important. And then of course you could get funny and you could say, well, I believe in what Ben Franklin said. He said if you want to get it done, you give it to a busy man. And that's always worked for me too. So that's important. Another objection that I hear sometimes, and you got to give me a time check, Deborah.
Still got about 30 minutes.
30 minutes? I don't know that I can talk to y'all for 30 minutes more. This is going to be hard on me. All right, I'm going to go through a few more. And I haven't heard from a single one of you. And I want to tell you right now, if you don't call me, I'm taking this Uber thing out to dinner tonight. So if you don't give me some kind of feedback here, I'm really going to get mad at you. So here's an objection that I used to get, don't get it very much anymore, but you don't handle homes in our price range. And again, you've got to acknowledge the objection. And the objection is, I can appreciate that position that you're in, and many people that we meet are in the same position. And I'm curious, has there ever been a time when you knew you were going to make a sacrifice and you just bit the bullet and did it? And
Quentin Dane said, I love that you said our results as a reply to what makes your marketing plan so different.
Well, thank you, Quentin. And I've seen your results lately, and it's really good. And so I congratulate you on that. Now, where was I? Okay, you don't handle our price range. Oh, I was giving you a different answer. So I'd shift. If I hear somebody say you don't handle our price range, I'd say you're right. I sell a lot of homes in your price range, and that's exactly why I'm here tonight. So the answer is, you're right. I don't sell a lot of homes in your price range, and that's exactly why I'm here tonight. So you shift back on them by recognizing what they've said and then turn it around. So I usually sell homes in lower price ranges, and what I find is after I sell my clients' homes, a great many of them move up to your price range. So this is an agent that's been maybe in a lower price range and trying to get into a higher price range. And therefore, it only makes sense that the next logical step for me is to start selling homes in your price range. So there. That would be the handling objection to I don't sell in your price range. The next objection that you might get is I need to net. Oh, I love this objection. I love it. When I hear it, bells go off in my heart, and I say, boy, if I just had maybe $20 for every time I've heard this objection. So listen carefully. This is the objection I get. And that objection is, I need to net this amount in order to move. You know, with every listing presentation I do a net sheet that has the bottom line, and I usually do a range. If we sell here, this is what you're going to get. If you do $5,000 worth of repair, this is where you're going to be. So they're saying to me, I need to net this amount in order to move. I have to be at my new job in 90 days. but I can't afford to buy a home if I don't net this amount. Oh my goodness. Needs versus wants is an American tradition, is it not? So I can appreciate the position that you're in. Many people in our area have to move, and they're in the same position that you're in. So I'm curious, has there ever been a time that you knew you were going to have to make a sacrifice? I mean, you knew it was going to be tough, but in the end, when you analyzed all of your options, you realized that there was only one thing to do, and that was to put your head down and get the job done. But you found that in the end, it all worked out. So I'm telling you that you need to price your house at this range. If you don't price your house at this range, there's a chance that you won't be able to make that deadline and be at your new job next month. So this time is just like that time. As you can see, the market is very competitive in your price ranges. I've got some price ranges where they don't even have 20 minutes worth of inventory. But then we got some price ranges that have got a lot of months, especially in the new home price range competing with a resale price range. They may have quite a bit of competition. And you're not the only cash there. You know, I talk to people too about on the buy side, when I've got a buyer that's got all cash and they think that is just the end all be all, that they will get anything in the world. You know, the truth is we've got a lot of cash buyers out there. So there's always competition. So my question is to this: is it important to get out from under this house, to take that new job and work through the tough times to put you in a position to keep on making a mortgage payment on both houses by missing the market and pricing your home above market price? So usually if they're logical, they'll see the logic in that. So also too, it's fun to, when you go into a listing, to figure out their motivation. And I think even Kevin Call said this, and last time I was in training with Tina, he said that the biggest thing I focus on is their motivation, and I really camp out on that. Getting to Florida with your grandchildren, you've had 2 more children and your house is a 3-bedroom home, and now you got 4 children in a 3-bedroom home. It's time to move up. So by focusing and really getting into their motivation, you're going to be able to call that back when they have an objection, and you're going to be able to tell them, in order to do this, we've got to do this on your house. So I think that's important. Let's see what the next one I put down is, we don't want to list at that price, it'll be sold in a week. Or another variation of that is, I don't want to give my house away. That's another one. If I had 20 bucks for every time somebody said that to me, I'd be very happy. I'd go to the Bahamas while the coronavirus blows over. So I never want to tell a person we're going to sell their house in a week. I don't want to give them any expectations. I will show them the statistics that if they do sell their house in the first month, that they're going to sell it for a higher list price versus sale price ratio. So, but it is important, again, to listen to them, to really listen to their concern and to validate that. And yeah, I understand. I don't want to give a valuable piece of real estate away like yours, and I understand that you feel that way. But is it more important to listen to when they want to be gone? It is more important to listen to when they want to be gone and tell them that your price will get them there in time. And you know, the old standard is I'd rather turn down 10 offers than never to get one. That's a big one. But again, the answer to the motivation of I don't want to give my house away, or I don't want it to sell in 1 week, is to go back to their motivation. Because honestly, truly, there's a lot of unmotivated sellers out there. And if there's ever a time to try the market, if you own a $250,000 home, do call me. I will try the market for you. But if you're in a different price range, if you're in the $750 price range or $850 price range, we're in a different ball game. So, all right, here's one that I get a lot too, and I bet you get it as well. We can always come down on price later. Don't you just hate that one? And you know what? When you tell them that you recall that they said they would come down on price later, they somehow conveniently forget that they told you that. So, I think the thing to say is, you know, you're right. You can come down on the price later. And I think you need to take into account how homes get sold. and really 57% of our market sells within 30 days, between 1 day and 30 days. So there's a lot of them that are selling quicker than 30 days. The truth is, if we're on the market for 35 days, we got a problem because we haven't met that threshold of activity. And of course, that's another great reason that we use Coming Soon Homes, is to prepare the market for our entrance to the market. But even if you come down on the price in 30 days, you've missed all those people, and you've missed the height of excitement on the market. And you know what I love to say is when I'm selling real estate, I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican, because if I was one or the other, I would lose half of my business. So I am totally neutral when it comes to selling real estate. But one thing you can find out about real estate is by understanding politics, to know that when the Democrats go to what they call convention, and the Republicans go to the convention, they always register the bounce after that in the polls. You'll hear the pollsters, you'll hear the people on TV talking about the bounce. And that's the bounce similar to what you get from being a new listing. And we want, by Coming Soon Homes, we actually create and lengthen that bounce, and that bounce goes higher because we really build that anticipation. But going back to, we can come down on the price later, you just never get a second chance at a first impression. And if we miss those first buyers, the first couple of weeks, guess what? The motivated buyers have already bought another home. You won't have another chance at them. They won't come back 30 days later. We've missed them. And what we want to do is put our first foot forward in the very best effort that we possibly can. So that's important. Another thing, well, that's enough said about that, unless you have anything you want to tell me about it. But I think that that's a common objection, is we can always come down on price later. Another thing that people do is, if you really, really want the listing, you can get them to sign a price reduction at the listing agreement, because believe me, they rarely remember the conversation. But you've got to be really, really strong on the out of the gate price. I think that that's really, really important. So another objection is we aren't quite ready yet, and we need to finish up a couple of projects around the house and put it on the market. And of course, this is handmade for our team here at EXP, the Freedom Builders and Coming Soon Homes, because that's really what Coming Soon Homes is all about. I rarely walked into a home in my entire career that was picture perfect, ready to go on the market, ready to put the sign up that day. And even if it was, I wouldn't want to do it, because I'd want to wait until it was fully exposed with the best pictures I could possibly make for the market. So that's a handmade one for us. And you know what happens is, I think most of the sellers really recognize that. Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll sign all the paperwork tonight, and we'll put the date that we'll go on the market as April 15th or April 20th. That's actually when the market really goes in this market. April 20th until the last week or the first week in June is what I've always called the run for the roses. That's just the hottest time in our market. So by getting your paperwork signed at the listing, and now I believe our local MLS rules are 30 days. You have to put the listing in as a coming soon listing or not to be shown. And during that time, you can promote the house, and you can do staging if you offer that service to your sellers. And I agree that that your house isn't up to par, and that we'd like to change a few of the things that are in the house to make that very best presentation, and we'll do that during this coming soon period. So that's one that we've used often. Any questions out there, Deborah? Because I'm running out of steam over here.
Not yet.
Oh my goodness, is Quentin Dane really going to get my Uber? Is he really? Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, thank you for that. All right, top agent alternative on that last question was great. Why don't we complete the paperwork and while we're doing your projects, and I'll get the flyers done and all the promotion done. You got a question?
I got one. Jennifer Severa. She said, this is a great objection she's been getting. Stocks just dropped. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. I'm going to wait to see what happens before I sell. What would be the best way to handle that objection?
Well, again, I think, Jennifer, I think you got to go back to their motivation. I think a lot of people are thinking like you're thinking right now. So I'd verify that there is that angst out there in the market. I think a lot of people are thinking like you're thinking right now, and you'd have to know their price range. And do you think that's going to create more competition for you or less competition for you if you put your house on the market? And of course, then you got to know what those statistics are and be able to discuss those with them. But it may work to your advantage. You know, in the past, I've been in real estate long enough to see a couple of downturns, and honestly, in the past, great agents will prosper in a downturn. So I've never been, I can't say I've never been afraid, because when I first started in real estate, I was quite poor, and I was very afraid of downturns and when the market slowed down. But it always worked out in our favor. So going back to that, you go back to their motivation. And if they're just, you know, they're just going to ride the market because they've heard the market was pretty good, that's probably not a motivated seller. But if they're going to sell, this downturn in the market may work out to their benefit. If fewer homes are competing with them, it is definitely a benefit. All right, so I'll go back to my list, and I'm not talking a full hour, so we're going to get this. Oh, have you ever heard this objection? Will you cut your commission? Other agents will. Oh, gee, did they really say that? I can't believe it.
Got another one.
Oh, okay. I'll go back to it.
Allison Griffith says, what do you say when a potential seller is now wondering if he should sell or refi at these low rates and stay put?
Well, I go back to his motivation. Okay, if you refi, the rates are great. You can't deny that. So I'm agreeing with him that the rates are great. So I would ask him, what is the benefit? Well, why would you move? Do you need a bigger house? Have you had increase in your family size? Do you need a smaller house? And you try to project from the price range. I need to know what price range that person is in, but you try to project what's going to happen in the market. And trying to project what's going to happen in the real estate market is almost as much fun as projecting what's going to happen in Wall Street. You know, there's not an accurate